What is going on, guys? My name is Kenji and welcome back to the channel. I hope it's not the first time you're watching one of my videos, but just in case it is, I'm a final year medical student and biomedical science graduate studying King's College London. And as you guys know, I've been in final year for a couple of months now, and in this video I kind of wanted to just sit down and have a one-to-one chat with you guys so far as a bit of a life update, a bit of a final year update, and a bit of a kind of Q&A as well towards the end, and just a general update about how final year is going so far. I feel like it's one of those points in my life that I really kind of want to reflect on and really want to remember, because a year from now I actually will be a couple of months into my first job as a junior doctor, and I really would love to look back at this video one day, kind of see like how Kenji was thinking, final year Kenji was thinking at the time. So let's sit down, let's have a chat, grab a tea or a coffee if you've got any, and start talking about how final year has been so far. So final year actually started all the way back in end of May, kind of start of June this year, and I actually moved into my final hospital in 5th year a couple of weeks ago. So go check out that video, that vlog I did of moving into this new accommodation if you haven't seen already. As you guys can see behind me is my new kind of setup in my room, and I do hope you guys like the colors and the kind of new setup, the new vibe that is going on here. So being at my new hospital in Kent has been really good. I've actually really enjoyed the new bedroom I'm in. I've really enjoyed meeting new people in the hospital and also just getting a good feel about what the hospital is like, and actually feel like I may actually apply to be a junior doctor here one day because I really like this hospital so much. Right now it is the 10th of September and we're actually right in the middle of applying for our first jobs as junior doctors. So essentially what I'm doing right now is spending a lot of admin time on my laptop here, just putting all my choices and ranking all my choices about where exactly I actually want to be and end up in the country as an F1, as a first year junior doctor. And as well as that, I'm also ranking all of the jobs that I actually want to do in my first year of being a doctor. Just to tell you guys so far, what I'm actually thinking about is 6 different jobs. So essentially when you go to actually join your first year of being a junior doctor, you have the option of doing 6 different specialties that you rotate around every 4 months. So currently I'm thinking about general practice, pediatrics, obstetrics and gynecology, psychiatry, A&E, and one more job that I'm not entirely sure what I'll do yet. Maybe like a surgical job, not entirely sure yet. But right now, those are kind of my 5 options of what jobs I actually want to do as a foundation year 1 doctor. What I'm also thinking about, as I mentioned, is staying in this hospital in Kent. Although I am from London, although I've really enjoyed being in London the last couple of years, I actually quite like being in Kent. You know, it's a very different vibe not being in a central London, big city, big hospital. The rent here is a lot cheaper. You're actually able to drive to work rather than actually taking the London Underground in the morning when it's super busy. And I just really like the vibe of this hospital here. It is a district general hospital, so it's a very kind of general hospital. It's not a specialized hospital like you get of the big kind of hospitals in London. And I actually don't mind that vibe. I like it. It's very chilled, and I probably will come back here, crossing my fingers, for my first year job as a junior doctor. So that's currently where I'm at, guys. I also really wanted to talk to you guys about what it's actually like being a final year medical student. I've got a lot of questions about what it's actually like to finally reach your final year, and I do have a few thoughts about it so far. The first thought I have is that when I first started clinical years of medicine in year 3 and then moving on to my 4th year, you very much are, you know, a part of the team, but you're more in the background. You know, you're not really learning about the actual job itself. You're kind of floating around the doctors here and there and just trying to absorb information in the back of your mind. And then every so often you will be involved in the team and you will be asked to like take blood or examine a patient and do something that's actually involved in being a, you know, doctor. The difference is now being in final year is that you very much are a part of the team. When you go into the wards in the morning, they will straight away give you junior doctor jobs, you know. The other day actually my ward is very understaffed, very busy. They had loads of patients to see, and the doctors and consultants were like, Kenji, today you need to be the F1, you need to be the first year doctor, we need your help. And this never happened in previous years. The way the doctors see you now is that you almost are a doctor. You know, you're a couple of months away from graduating, you're so close to actually being a doctor, and that's how they kind of see you. The whole entire team sees you as this, you know, first year doctor now who can do things and who is able to properly examine patients, to properly take a history from patients, to probably be able to do proper jobs, you know. They know that you passed your exam so far. They know that you really pretty much should be at the level of a first year doctor, bar, you know, maybe 1 or 2 specialties that you haven't gone on to yet. But in terms of your actual skills, in terms of what you can do, you should really be at the level of a first year doctor, and that is really much how they treat you. And that's honestly amazing. It feels really good. You don't really feel like a spare wheel. You feel like you can actually make a difference and help these doctors who are extremely busy. And being able to do that means that being on the wards now is so much more fun because you feel like you have a lot more responsibility. You feel like you're actually making a difference and actually contributing to the actual team. And rather than kind of floating in the background, you know, listening into conversations, trying to absorb information, you actually are doing the job of a first year doctor. Obviously not with all the responsibility, not with actually making the big decisions, but actually doing the small things that you will be doing as a first year doctor. And right now, every day when I go to the wards, I kind of feel like I'm almost there, you know, I'm so close. The thing about medical school is that it's 5 years long. So when you're in your 3rd year, you're kind of like, oh, I'm so close, but I'm also not really that close. 4th year is like, oh, I'm only, you know, a year and a half, 2 years away away, and final year is like, I'm actually at the last couple of months now. I can feel it, I can see it, and I'm almost there, and I'm super excited to start my first job as a doctor in a couple of months' time. The other thing that's very different about final year is that there's not that much pressure anymore. I only have, you know, 1, maybe 2 exams left till I actually officially graduate, so the actual pressure passing all your exams is really well and truly almost gone. The thing about fourth year, at least the Kings, is that's the last year that actually contributed to our overall score, our overall classification and ranking in medical school. So by now, all of the exams that I've done that actually contributed to my job of being a doctor, contributed to the actual application process, is all well and done. So the next exams I have left in final year are all a pass or fail. They're literally only pass or fail. I don't have to do very, very well because they don't actually contribute to my overall ranking in medical school, and that is hugely relieving. Although of course I am studying every day, I am preparing for the next exam, which is only about a month away in October. I'm not stressing like I was for the last exam where I was revising all the time, knowing that whatever mark I kind of get contributes to my job application as doctor. So the actual pressure now in fifth year is pretty much almost all gone, and it makes the process a lot more better to actually enjoy. And that is pretty much an update of where we're at right now, guys. As I said, on the 10th of September, this is what's going through my head, this is how I'm feeling, and hopefully you guys can see that I'm still pretty enthusiastic about medical school. And now let's actually go on to my Instagram. I actually put a post up for people to ask any question they have about how medical school is going so far. So let's jump ahead and see what questions you guys sent me. All right, so the first question is, what are you most excited for in final year of medical school? To be honest with you, the main thing that I'm really super excited for is just to graduate. I think it's been a long, you know, stressful period throughout medical school. One of the best periods of my life. It does feel quite long. So I definitely am looking forward to getting all my exams out the way and getting to that point where I get to call myself doctor. And also what I'm really looking forward to right before then is my elective. So I'm not entirely sure if you guys know this, but in your 4th or 5th year of medical school, in King's it's in our 5th year, you actually get the opportunity to go abroad and do any sorts of medical specialty that you decide. So in January, hopefully, fingers crossed, I will be going abroad to actually explore the world and also do a bit of medicine in a different country. And that's something that I'm super excited for. It often is the pinnacle of medical school, and that's what I pretty much am so excited for. Next question is, do you feel ready to be a doctor? Yes and no. It's a really good question, but yes and no. I think yes, being that it has been 5 years of medical school, I have passed all of my kind of big final year exams. I know that in terms of my theory and my practice, I pretty much am at the level of an F1 doctor, hopefully speaking. So that does give me a bit of confidence in thinking that I should be able to do well as a doctor. I mean, if you've made it through medical school, you're in final year, you passed all your exams, then you should be able to do the job of being a doctor. I also say no because I feel like between 5th year and you know, and being a doctor, there is no interim period. One day you're a medical student with no responsibility, the next day you're a doctor with so much responsibility, which is scary. I definitely am a little bit scared of starting, you know, the job of a doctor, but at the back of my mind, I also am trying to reassure myself that it has been 5 years, I have passed all my exams, and I am ready to jump in there and actually hopefully contribute to the NHS. So yes and no to that question. All right, so I also got a few questions saying, what has been your favorite year so far in medical school? To be honest with you, I'd probably say your first year of medical school is probably the best year. The reason being is that when you first join medical school, you know, for your entire life, you know, you're looking forward to being a doctor and getting into medical school. I was so excited to actually get accepted into medical school. You know, you might move to a different city, you make loads of new friends, you also don't really have much responsibility, you know, the exams aren't that important. So first year is a very, very good year because, you know, having said all this, you do kind of go in just so excited to start, just so excited to be a medical student. You get to go out a lot and meet people and socialize a lot in your first year. There's Freshers Week. So I'd say first year is probably one of the most exciting years. I'd also say that second year is one of my favorite years as well. The reason being is that from second year, you kind of develop your tribe of people. You have your best friends, you have all your good friends. You've been in medical school a year already, so you know how to revise, you know how to study. I traveled so much in my second year. I think I traveled way more in my second year than I did in my first year. So my first year and second year are probably one of the best years of medical school that I've had so far. In terms of what the hardest year of medical school so far has been, I'd probably say fourth year was the hardest year of medical school, maybe third year as well. The reason I say third year is because third year is your first clinical year, and it's the first year of actually having clinical exams. So the way you actually do the exams, the way you study the exams is completely different. You also have OSCEs, so your clinical exams, and they can often come with a bit of anxiety. But fourth year apparently is notoriously the hardest year of medical school, supposedly. The reason being, as I said, is that at least here at King's, it's one of the big years that actually counts towards your job application as a doctor. So you do have to score well in your fourth year. There's loads of exams that you have to pass. You also have loads of like specialties that you start doing in your fourth year. All the like niche specialties, you have to learn all that, you know, all that information. There's a lot of content. So apparently fourth year is the hardest year of medical school. And I probably agree with that, to be honest with you. Next question is, what are your plans after graduation? So my plan after graduation is to go on a big fat holiday. I'm not gonna lie to you, as I said, you know, 5th year of medical school and medical school in general school has been so long. So when I graduate, I really want to go on a big holiday with my, my family, my girlfriend, my friends, really just enjoy and, appreciate the moment of finally graduating. And then after that, I think we have about 6 weeks off. And then we actually come back on the first Wednesday of August to actually start our jobs as junior doctors. My plan, as I mentioned to you guys before, is to do my first 2 years of medicine. I want to do the first year and second year in those specialties I mentioned. And then actually after the first 2 years of being like a doctor, I then kind of want to take a year out of medicine. I'm not entirely sure what I want to do in that year, but I'm pretty certain that I want to take a year out, like a gap year from being a doctor. Maybe work as a doctor part-time in A&E. But to be honest with you, just take a break from medicine and being a doctor. I feel like those 2 years of being a doctor, being a junior doctor, are going to be so busy, so stressful. And I've gone from year after year after year of education, year after year of training. It's been, obviously high school, 8 years of university, and then 2 years being a doctor. I feel like I'm going to be hella tired and hella old, man. I feel like I just need to take a little bit of time to just travel, spend time with people I love, work as a doctor part-time, and yeah, take a year out from medicine after 2 years of being a doctor though. Next question. Next question is, do you have any goals for the final year? Any preparation for the actual completion party? To be honest with you, my goals for the final year aren't that like big. My first goal is to just get medical school out of the way, focus on being a good medical student, learn all of the key skills of being a doctor because it's so close. So obviously, just be a competent and confident doctor. That's the first kind of goal of medical school. Second goal is that these are the last few months growing my YouTube channel, actually putting effort into my YouTube channel. When I'm a doctor, I'll probably be so busy. My plan is to keep making videos, but I'd love to grow a lot more during this last couple of months. So click like on the video, make sure you share this video with your friends. But grow is one of the biggest goals I have in the last year of medical school. And also just take some time off, throughout the last year to just enjoy the process, As I mentioned, this is my last year of being a student, probably for the rest of my life, and I probably will be a doctor for the rest of my life as well. So just really enjoy the process of being in final year. Travel in the gaps I have, any sort of holiday I have, travel. Enjoy the time that I have left people I love throughout medical school. I know I'm sounding really hella old saying this, but just really enjoy the process pretty much is my plans for this last year. Next question is, are you planning to move back to London as a doctor once uni is over? So probably not. I think, as I mentioned to you guys, my top kind of option is to stay in the Kent area, in the South Thames area. I really like being in Kent for my 4th and 5th year of medical school. It's way cheaper, all the pros that I mentioned before. I do love London, but right now, if I want to go to London, I'm literally 40 minutes away, less than 40 minutes away from the nearest station to where I am right now in this hospital. It's a 20-minute train directly to central London. So I'm actually really, really close to London, and I don't have to pay the London fees. I don't have to commute on the underground. I don't have to be in a busy city. But if I want to be on a weekend to meet up with my friends or whatever, I can be there in less than like half an hour, to be honest with you. So my plan is no, in terms of being a doctor in London, maybe in the future, but right now I'm very happy being in Kent. And I highly recommend you guys check out different areas of the country as well. Next question is, how do you deal with imposter syndrome? If you don't, could you give any advice to avoid self-comparing? Yeah, that's a great question. I think, to be honest with you guys, imposter syndrome is something that we all face in life. As a medical student and as a final year medical student, I face imposter syndrome almost on a daily basis. And that's the honest truth with you guys. And I feel like it never goes away. You then become a doctor. You feel like, oh, I'm a doctor now. I should be able to say goodbye to my imposter. But then you realize you're actually the bottom of the chain. You're a new junior doctor, and the amount of imposter syndrome, comes back to you. And I'm not entirely sure if it ever goes away, and that's okay. I think imposter syndrome is about accepting that you are where you are, and you've worked hard to reach, wherever you are. On a daily basis, whenever I feel imposter syndrome, I remind myself and I say, Kenji, shut up. You've been in medical school 5 years. You've fought and you've gone through trenches, and you've literally worked so hard to get where you are today. And that has not come out of luck. I have fought my way here. I've worked really hard to be here, and I deserve to be here. So if anyone can do whatever they've achieved, I definitely can as well. And I think it's about having confidence in yourself. When I look at people who've achieved amazing things like the consultants in the ward, I look at them and I don't think I can never get there. I look at them and say, you know what? I have what it takes to get there. And if they got there, then why not me? Then what is so special about them that means that I can't get there? And that's the mentality I hold every single day, that I know that I can do it, prove that I can do it. I deserve to be here. If someone else can do it, why can't I do it? And it's a constant process of reminding yourself of these things so that one day the imposter, goes further and further and further and further away, so that your confidence in yourself gains and develops over time. The next question you asked was, how do you stop yourself from comparing? It's just pretty much just telling yourself that, listen, comparison is the thief of joy. That's a really big quote that I live by every single day. Comparing yourself is where you're guaranteed to fail, because there's always someone who might be better than you, have more money than you, be prettier, be smarter. That's a normal thing, but you have your strengths. Some people might look at you and think, actually, this guy is actually really smart. This guy is actually really clever. But maybe that guy is better at music or better at studying. Everyone has their strengths, everyone has their weaknesses, and that's okay. Just find out what you're strong at and stick to it, and be okay with the things you're bad at. I'm not going to try and race a long distance marathon runner. I know I'm not that good at marathon running, you know, that's not my area of expertise, but maybe I'm really good at, you know, YouTubing and editing, and I'll love my strengths, but also accept my weaknesses and understand that it's okay to be weak, it's okay to have weaknesses. And before I go on in another rant, I'm going to stop that question right there, but really good question. You know, it's something we all face at the end of the day. The next question I have is, was it worth spending your 20s doing a second undergraduate degree? And the answer to that is absolutely 100%. And the reason why is that a wise person once told me to spend your first 30 years learning and the next 30 years earning. So the first 30 years of your life should really be about learning, you know, getting good skills, getting more educated, and the next 30 years earning. And I really like truly believe that, you know, at the end of the day, I could have spent my time doing absolutely anything. I could have been a waiter for the last 8 years. I could have been a bartender. I could have been working at Tesco's. I could have done, you know, whatever. But I chose to do medicine. The reason for that is because I loved medicine. It's my passion, and I absolutely would not have imagined doing anything else in the entire world. There is no other job on this earth that I could honestly tell you that I would enjoy, you know. And like, don't get me wrong, there are amazing jobs out there, but in terms of me personally, there is no other job out there that I could personally do that isn't medicine. I love medicine so much, and it's my passion, and I could have literally spent the last 5 years doing something completely different. But what life is about is choosing the right thing for you, that you want to do, that you enjoy, that you look forward to, and that's the most important thing at the end of the day. And to be honest, you're going to live on earth for 85 years roughly. Spending the first, you know, 25 years of your life in education is not actually that a bad thing, you know. I had the rest of my life to work as a doctor, so I'm very glad I chose to study medicine as a second degree, and I wouldn't have done anything else. And the last question I want to answer for you guys is, was med school worth it in the end? And as I'm sure you'll guess, 100%, medical school it's been a long process. It's been 5 years, but within those 5 years, I've had time to grow with my friendships, grow with my relationships, you know, meet new people, meet new patients, travel the entire world, have loads of summer holidays, loads of winter holidays, really get to see patients and have people tell you things that are so personal to them. And there is no other degree in the world, I think, that allows you to do that, to meet new people every single day and have them tell you about, you know, the stresses they're going through in life, have them tell you about the things that they suffer with. Those are moments in life that you can kind of never forget. And being a medical student has been amazing, and I absolutely cannot wait to be a doctor in a couple of months. And I hope you guys have subscribed so you can come along with me, and I can't wait to share all of that new content with you guys and everything going on in the future. And obviously the last question I had to ask is, how do you manage to look so good while doing all you do? Obviously I had to ask that question. That's actually one of my really good friends who posted that, and I had to just include it in there. But no, on a serious note, thank you guys so much for supporting me throughout medical school. It's been an amazing journey, and I don't do YouTube for money or for fame or any of those reasons. I do it to really spread the positivity that comes with being medical school, hopefully to inspire you guys. And yeah, I'm really thankful for all of you guys who watch my videos. So if you watched it this far, please like the video, leave a comment down below, make sure you subscribe with notifications on so you never miss another upload. Thank you guys so much for watching, and before you go away, here are some other suggestions on other videos you can watch on my channel, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.